So the Philadelphia Eagles have had a tremendous offseason. There are a lot of people who deserve credit for this turnaround. We will talk about it, but that takes us to our question of the day. How many games can this team realistically win? And more importantly, are they contenders? We will break it all down. Let's go.
Perfect.
What is going on, everybody? RB here. Welcome into Philly Take with RB. You know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe for more content. Be sure to ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of it. We'll be dropping videos going live. We're going to take a dive deep into this team, and I can't wait to look at it, man. But before we get into, talking today about the Eagles' schedule, talking about how many games they could potentially win, we need to start with this organization. We need to start with Howie Roseman. And look, okay, I will always come up on here and say when I'm wrong and say when things look opposite of what I had predicted before, and that has happened. Now, I want to say this. A lot of us, threw dirt at Howie's name, and I feel it was deserved for the last couple years, thinking about post-Super Bowl era, signing guys to interesting contracts, letting other guys go, drafting certain positions, not drafting other positions. Then you had the whole Wentz and Doug debacle. And at one point after 2020, we all sat here and thought, well, it's time to hit the full reset. And that included Howie Roseman, or so we thought. And then we realized Howie's never going to go. And Jeffrey Lurie, kept him around. We have a new coach, new coaching staff, new quarterback. This team's going in a different direction. Eagles fans didn't like the taste of it, but I have to give Howie Roseman a ton of credit the way he has turned his team around. I want to say a couple main things, okay? Number one, he has very much impressed me with what he has done this offseason. It's been surreal, man. I mean, the Eagles may have had one of the best offseasons, one of the best drafts in the entire league. And in fact, we can talk about 2017, and yes, how he picked up pieces here and there, filled out the gaps. And, he was a wizard, right? Getting these pieces like Jay Ajayi and players like that. But I got to be honest, this might be the best job I've ever seen Howie Roseman do. I mean, just looking at it, from top to bottom in a few months, I mean, this has been crazy. It really has. And I mean, just look at it. We talked about this before. A.J. Brown, Hassan Reddick. You get A.J. Brown on draft night. You pick up Jordan Davis. You get Nakobe Dean. And then you go sign James Bradbury. You completely upgrade the secondary, something that this team needed. And you got better on both sides of the ball. You have young weapons like Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith. And you go add some of these pieces in there. And I think it's interesting because not only do the Eagles now have players, that are young and upcoming and developing, but they still have some of those vets who, when they're gone, these guys not only get to learn from them, but then step up in their place. And I think it creates a good mesh. And you just see the levels, right? You see the layers of this organization and what they're trying to do for both the short and long term. And I think that's what good organizations do. And Howie deserves a ton of credit. A couple things I want to say about Howie real quickly. Number one, I knew he had changed when he picked a linebacker above round 3 or 4. The Eagles would never do that historically. We haven't drafted a linebacker in the first round since like 1970. And not only a linebacker, but a guy from a winning program. By the way, we've been drafting guys from winning programs. Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. Not only guys from winning programs, but, touted as one of the best linebackers in the draft who fell because of a supposed shoulder injury. That he's still out there balling and should be ready to go this season. Howie Roseman doing that, letting him slip because obviously he was there in round 2 and, Eagles fans wanted him. Knowing he was going to slip and then taking him, that was just superb. And Howie is different. He is different. Again, I've talked about him before. I still thought he deserved to be fired a couple years ago, but with how he has turned things around, like I said, we know he will never get fired until he is ready to step down. He's been with this organization since 2000, and he's been GM since 2010. He's like Jeffrey Lurie's son. He will not go until he wants to on his own terms. And that brings me to the one other thing I would like to say about Howie Roseman. I'm realizing what's going on here, and nobody's talking about this. Howie Roseman has changed. I heard an interview a couple weeks ago. He said two things. He said, one, I'm starting to reflect on my job. When during the NFL draft, I just sat there one morning and just looked around and realized, like, I have one of the best jobs in the world. He's reflecting. And number two, he said about the Nakobe Dean pick, that if he didn't go out and get a guy like that, Eagles fans would be pissed off. And you know what that tells me? For once, he's finally somehow listening to the fans, just like Nick Sirianni did, midway through the season, started running the ball more. Howie Roseman is listening to the pulse of Philadelphia, to these diehard Eagles fans, in part. And that's something he never did before. And I don't know how he's doing it. Maybe a burner account on Twitter. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is that he's doing it, and it's been a turnaround. And the last thing I'll say is that there is legacy on the line. Think about it. Howie Roseman delivered the first Super Bowl to this championship, this championship city, right? That first one that meant so much. That was one of the most meaningful things in history. He delivered that. His name is on that. However, the last couple years after that, he has no pressure about his job. But what we do know is that he has pressure about his legacy. He doesn't want to go out with a distaste, right? Oh, Howie Roseman stunk. It was a fluke. This, that. And just listening and watching him, there is a different fire behind Howie Roseman. It has been ignited. It is special. And I have more faith right now in Howie Roseman. I never thought I'd be saying this. I have more faith in Howie Roseman than I ever have. And I will leave it at that. Hopefully he continues to do big things. He's on a roll, man. Let's keep it going. And don't make me eat my words, Howie. But anyway, transitioning to where we need to go. In terms of this Eagles team, I think things are only going to get better. Why is that? Because of this report that came out that Jeffrey Lurie has reportedly stepped back and Howie has full control. He's going all in. He's going full-fledged. And this season, the Eagles team is looking pretty good as they stack up. Here's the schedule for 2022 and 2023. In the past, I've gone game by game. I realize that makes no sense, and it's just not going to help much. Let me know down below, how many games do you think this team can win? The reason I'm not going to go week by week is because, this guy could get injured, that guy. Like, by the time we actually get to these weeks, things could be completely different, and you never know who's going to be healthy. What I will say is, looking at this schedule, it looks much more favorable than it has in recent years. I personally think the ceiling for this Eagles team this year is 12 wins. I think the floor is 8 wins, and I'm going to predict us to win 10 games. I think we take a little notch up from last year, and I think this team will go as far as the quarterback takes. And I mean, you look at these games, I mean, the Eagles could realistically start off 4-2 on the season, 5-1 if they're playing their best ball. Couple games that may scare me a little bit, teams that we may struggle a little bit with like we usually do, the Vikings in week 2. All right, maybe the Titans, Green Bay. I mean, the Bears could be a little, depending on how the Bears are doing, depending on how Justin Fields is doing, that could be kind of like a trap game. But when I look at this entire schedule, right, we play Wentz and Doug back-to-back. It's going to be crazy. This Eagles team has a really good chance to win 10-plus games. I think they need to do it. I think Hurts needs to show that development. And this team will go as far as the quarterback will take them. I think the Eagles have the best roster in this division. I think they're better than every team by a good amount now. And I think if the quarterback even plays average, if he plays par, I think this Eagles team can win 10 games. If Jalen Hurts takes a step up, takes it to another notch and is a great quarterback, this team could win 12 games and they could be a contender in the playoffs. I'm just going to say it. Like, look at what this team has. Sure, we'll be breaking it all down more, but just look at every position group. This team has improved and they're still young. And Howie, we know he's always been a wizard with the cap. For example, James Bradbury, only $2 million, I think it is, out of his $10 million this year is even counting towards the cap. Howie has put this team in position, even if we don't succeed this year, we can go out and get a top quarterback next year. So I think this Eagles team is really in a good position for the next 3 years now, at least. Maybe another window opening up. Howie deserves a ton of credit. And I think this Eagles team is going to have a really good year. Now, I will say, there are times, it's happened in the last couple years where coaches, quarterbacks in their second year, they take a little step back. That's just because the league gets used to them. They have to adapt a little bit. But when I look at this Eagles team, man, it's like every positional group improved. Can Jalen Hurts be the guy? If he is legit, because I'm still not sold either way. I don't know. I've seen ups, I've seen downs, I've seen awful throws, I've seen great plays. If he can be that guy, this team can be deadly, man. They really can. I have us going maybe 4-2 or 5-1 in the division. I don't think any of the teams in this division really, are stacked up. Maybe the Cowboys take one from us, right? Maybe we lose a trap game to Carson Wentz. I think the Eagles need to come out and win maybe, 6 of their first 8, 5 of their first 7. They need to make a statement, because if they do, and we saw the formula that will work for this team, run heavy and let Jalen, manage the game. If we do that, you look at the guys we added, A.J. Brown, and then on the other side, Hassan Reddick, who has, the most sacks over the last 2 years. And now we have finally another suitable corner. I can't believe it. We have 2 solid guys. We let Nelson walk. Everybody was worried. Howie comes out of nowhere. And that's another thing on Howie Roseman. He's just making things happen. There'd always be the guy out there, Eagles fans calling for this guy. It would never happen. Everybody was calling for James Bradbury. Howie got it done. He's listening. And this Eagles team, I believe, will win 10 games this year. And I just hope that things go well. I hope everybody stays healthy. And I'm excited to see this next transition period. It's going to be special. This Eagles team is looking very promising. Give me your thoughts down below. How many games do you think this team can win? Could they potentially be a contender? I want to hear your thoughts, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll have a ton more content on the way, so be sure to stay up with it, man. You guys have a great one, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Perfect.